Ladies and gentlemen, I want to give you a case study in duplicity and hypocrisy. This is today. Trump wasn't indicted, but it's clear he's far from safe. The Washington Post. And I want to give you an article, a hit piece written against me by a wonderful journalist, just a very, very intelligent man, Bob Cesca, in a publication that no longer exists that published about 5 hit pieces on me. This is when I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, and the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. He wrote, "Hillary won't be indicted, proving yet again that H.A. Goodman is an unapologetic propagandist." So when Clinton wasn't indicted, it was case closed. You don't talk about it again. Anyone who said that top secret intelligence somehow transferred onto private servers for 4 years, running outside of the United States government, again, storing top secret and special access program intelligence, somehow we have no clue how it got on those servers, with 30,000 emails deleted without government oversight by Madam Secretary's attorneys. Totally fine. Anyone, any journalist, any pundit, anybody who was on the left even at that point, who questioned how somebody could get away with that, was a horrible human being and a propagandist. I was a propagandist. Why? Because Clinton wasn't indicted. Trump wasn't indicted. They went from, he worked with Russia, he was installed by Russian intelligence operatives who bought Facebook ads, not a shred of evidence, aside from a dossier they purchased. Mueller was like, more egg on the face of Democrats, couldn't find anything, nobody was indicted, not even on a campaign finance violation linked to Russia. They got people on allegedly lying to Peter Strzok, who was then kicked out of the Bureau. They found nothing on Trump Russia, absolutely nothing. Then they went to Trump. Trump elevated his net worth. They couldn't find anything there because Deutsche Bank would have been suing Trump. So they found nothing. Then they said, oh, he engaged in insurance schemes. They found nothing there. Then they said Trump committed the heinous crime of paying for Alan Weisselberg's grandchildren's tuition. The charges against former president business shows prosecutors are still building a case. No, they're not. The New York prosecutors are highly partisan. Infinitely more partisan than even the people in the Arizona recount, which is highly partisan also. American politics has 2 opposing sides. I know this is very difficult for Democrats and left-leaning voters to understand. Each side is partisan. The truth is independent of whatever each side tries to communicate or convey. Sometimes Trump is on the side of, in most cases, most major obsessions, Trump is on the side of right, like justice, reason, truth, logic. He never worked with Russia. That was a tinfoil hat, absurd fantasy. He never was installed by Russian intelligence officials, but hit subscribe to this channel right now. Because I have experienced and I have seen, going from Bernie Sanders to supporting and voting for President Trump. President Trump was one of our, in terms of accomplishments, one of the great presidents. Give me a foreign policy accomplishment from President Obama, and Bush was the worst president we've had, ever. President Trump negotiated a deal to bring us home from never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts. And the Lincoln Project, Bill Kristol, all of the interventionists and hawks vote Democrat for a reason. So President Trump, in addition to that, allocated more funding to historically black colleges and universities than any president ever, did better among non-white voters than any Republican candidate in 60 years. But hit subscribe to this channel right now, because not many people are going to talk about how President Trump not only was the first president to step foot in North Korea, but he has completely and utterly defeated New York prosecutors for the 10 millionth time. or Democratic partisans, extremely biased Democrats who aren't at all interested in the rule of law. If they were interested in the rule of law, that wonderful journalist wouldn't have written a hit piece on me when I was on the left. I was on the same political side as that gentleman. Okay? Think about that for a second. But he couldn't, and others, the left is incapable. The cognitive dissonance runs their lives. They are incapable of saying, hey, you know what? This Democrat committed a crime. Now, if you look at President Trump, I am capable of a critique of, hey, you know what? There are things he shouldn't have said. It's not good that he said certain things. It's bad. He shouldn't say things primarily because it's going to, Democrats are going to take them, sensationalize them, and distort them. But also, it's just, he could have communicated a whole bunch of things in a better manner. That being said, I'm not bound by a political party. I started as a lifelong Democrat, voted for President Trump because he was able to do great things that Democrats and left-leaning voters don't care about. See, they don't care about bringing home Americans. I have written and been published in the Hill. I was a contributor, the Huffington Post, the Jerusalem Post, the Roanoke Times. I've written against counterinsurgency conflicts. I want Americans home from these endless and perpetual counterinsurgency in military conflicts. Okay, I want Americans home. That's what drives me. I vote for Trump over Clinton. 1,000 times out of 1,000 times I would do that. I would vote for Tulsi Gabbard over Mitt Romney because she wants to, so she's a Democrat, but she wants to bring Americans home from never ending. She's a veteran. So what I'm trying to say is I have my political viewpoints and I have my thought process and my views, but I'm not bound by an ideology. I'm not bound by a political party. Okay? Trump wasn't indicted, but it's clear he's far from safe. They don't have anything on him. The Mueller probe had nothing on Trump. The impeachments weren't even based on direct evidence. They didn't get a commission because the Attorney General of D.C. and the Mayor of D.C. didn't level charges at President Trump. Why? Because he's protected under the First Amendment. He didn't tell people to commit any crimes. It was a tragedy in January. You know what was also a tragedy? The 4 to 5 months of $1 to $2 billion in property damage, according to Wikipedia, and 25 lives lost. Endless mayhem and chaos. Police buildings set in flames. CNN journalists saying, oh, well, it's fiery but peaceful. Okay, so technically, according to Democrats, it was majority peaceful. The majority of people didn't commit crimes that day. That's the mindset of Democrats. They're hypocrites on almost everything. Tara Reid with Biden, and then Kavanaugh. They go after Trump for a hot mic, which is exactly what Biden is accused of having done. Okay? So they have, it's unbelievable the paradigm they live within. But this is so interesting, the duplicity or the contrast in how they view a like Clinton and others. We're talking about Dianne Feinstein and Richard Burr. Again, Republican, fine with me if he gets indicted for stock trades. Kelly Loeffler. You have another Republican. You have these people who sold their stocks right before the economic downturn. Okay? Right before the economic downturn last year because of the pandemic. And this was after classified briefings. Okay? Almost certainly they should have been indicted. Again, it's not... If Trump committed a crime, tell me what he did. Don't accuse him, make categorical, absolute statements of guilt, and then move the goalposts. Nobody is accusing Richard Burr or Kelly Loeffler or Dianne Feinstein of working with Kremlin agents and then saying, oh, well, we couldn't find that, but they did sell stocks right after a classified briefing for millions of dollars in profit. Nobody is accusing them of something absurd prior to focusing on their stock trades. Okay? That's what happens with Trump. They find nothing. The media, Democrats in general, are obsessed with disliking. They have Trump. They have utter contempt for him and disdain. He didn't create an era of perpetual and never-ending wars. That was Bush. He didn't obliterate a country in Libya. That was President Obama. What did this man do? He tweeted mean things. And we had record low unemployment. You think Democrats really care about the infrastructure bill? It won't even... the best estimates are that it might boost GDP. We need economic growth at this point right now. We had record low unemployment with Trump. But they see his tweets were too much for them. Like, do you understand Democrats love this? Like, crime soaring, inflationary concerns, stagnant economy, foreign policy issues we didn't have with Trump, 16 times capacity at the border, okay, in facilities that AOC tried to equate to a time period she should never again talk about. I wrote about that in the Jerusalem Post in my op-ed. Check that out on hagoodman.com. And Yad Vashem refuted her distorted historical claims. But it's like, are you kidding me? This life is this world. Biden's America is better than Trump's America? I don't think so. And guess who actually committed crimes? You can have a list of Democrats covered up. Media is complicit. You have the Southern District of New York not going after Madam Secretary's foundation, but you better believe, $9 billion or so raised for the people of Haiti. We can go through the list. Uranium One, oh, yeah, there's nothing. It's fine. Oh, my God. What's worse, 20% of U.S. uranium capacity or leasing cars for Alan Weisselberg? To Democrats, it's the car payments. This was after they said he worked with Russia for 4 years. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe. And anyway, he didn't get Uranium One payments. It's like explaining physics to an amoeba. You can't rationalize or reason with people who view politics to be left. The Democratic Party is a religion to Democrats. It's not politics, it's a religion. That's why they can't possibly understand the duplicity and disingenuous thought process that they have. Give me your thoughts. Thank you.